The calf is predominantly made up of two different muscles, the soleus, which lies deep to the gastrocnemius. As you can see here, both muscles connect to the Achilles tendon that pulls on the back of the heel. The gastrocnemius also has two different heads that pass the knee joint to the back of the femur. The gastrocnemius and soleus both work to create plantar flexion, whereas the gastrocnemius also assists with knee flexion. Start sitting on the floor using a foam roller. Begin by placing your calves on the foam roller. Using the weight of your legs, flex and point the foot to create a better release. As you work up the calf, roll the knee outward and inward to get more of the lateral and medial gastrocnemius heads. Continue to work through that tissue for 7 to 10 repetitions on each part of the calf that is tender. Next, use the massage stick. To make sure the calf is loose, use a step stool to lift the foot and allow the muscle to relax. Start near the bottom of the soleus and pull towards the top of the gastrocnemius. When you find a tender spot or a knot, stop the massage stick where it is and create pressure into that spot, creating a jostling motion without rolling the massage stick up and down. Make sure you breathe and relax the muscle tissue. Continue this same process all throughout the soleus and gastrocnemius, even the side of the lower leg, until you feel you've gotten all of the tender spots. Be sure to use firm pressure as you roll the tissue. The muscles running most deep to the soleus are the tibialis posterior and the flexor digitorum longus. The tibialis posterior is responsible for inversion of the foot. The flexor digitorum longus runs all the way to the tip of the toes, creating flexion of the four toes and assists with plantar flexion of the ankle. From those illustrations, you can see how the muscles in the lower leg control the toes. To work the tibialis posterior and the flexor digitorum longus, we are going to need a lacrosse ball and a chair. With your leg on a hard chair and the foot over the edge, place a lacrosse ball in between the gastrocnemius muscles and press down into the tissue. Work the medial and lateral portions the same way you work the tissue of the tibialis posterior. Press into the ball and pull your foot up while you breathe in. After a full contraction up, drop the foot and relax your breath. Work your way to the medial portions, continuing to breathe during the contract and relax sequence for 7 to 10 repetitions. Then move out to the lateral portions for 7 to 10 repetitions. For the foot, we're going to be looking at 4 different layers of muscle tissue. We'll begin with the most superficial ones. This initial layer is where we will focus first, with the bulk of our work being done on the flexor digitorum brevis. On the inside of the foot near the arch and heel is the abductor hallucis, and on the outside near the heel, the abductor digiti minimi. The second layer is made up of the quadratus plantae and the lumbricals. The lumbricals are intertwined with the tendons of the flexor digitorum longus. The third layer of muscle tissue is important when concerning pain at the ball of the foot. Here, the focus is on the flexor hallucis brevis, flexor digiti minimi brevis, adductor hallucis, the oblique head, and the transverse head. We're going to begin our work with a lacrosse ball right next to the wall. Place your foot beside the wall and start with the lacrosse ball near the front of the foot or the ball of the foot. Slowly press your foot over the ball, moving the ball towards the heel. Once you reach the heel, Continue your pressure directly into the tissue connecting to the heel. As you stand still with pressure, pull the toes up, then flex them down into the floor. Continue this process for 2 to 3 rounds, then proceed to work on the ball of the foot, stopping incrementally to flex the toes and relax. This process should take anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes to work your way all back to the heel, stretching the fascia on the bottom of the foot. Be sure to use firm pressure as you flex the toes and pull them up. Be sure to breathe and relax as you work the ball towards the heel. Next, we're going to use a bouncy ball near the ball of the foot, in the arch, and near the heel. The point of this is to push with even pressure into the floor, allowing your foot to collapse or fold over the ball for 20 to 30 seconds. Then, lift your foot, move the ball to a new area, and begin to stand again with even pressure on both feet. Even pressure means do not lean away from the pressure, but keep the pressure on both feet for 20 to 30 seconds. Repeat this process 6 to 7 times all over your left and then right foot. You can work from the ball of the foot all the way towards the heel. Remember to relax and stand evenly on the ball. The final layer of muscle tissue is between the metatarsals, called the plantar interossei. These are small muscles, but powerful for squeezing the foot tight. Work each finger between each toe until you have reached the webbing. It may take you some time to get to this point because it is an extreme stretch. Regardless of how deep you get your fingers into your toes, create a squeeze on the ball of the foot, creating separation of the metatarsals. Begin to move the foot back and forth, creating a big stretch. You will continue this anywhere from 30 to 40 seconds. Using the fingertips, we will begin working the top of the foot. Bend the toes up and press your fingers between the toes up the foot toward the ankle. This will create greater relaxation of the muscles that hold the toes together. Repeat this process 6 to 7 times, then return to the pivoting motion back and forth on the ball of the foot.
For pelvic tilt.
Remember, as we do pelvic tilts, right, we want to create a Kegel. That's like you're cutting off going to the bathroom. And then think of Doritos under your low back and crush that Dorito.
Three, two, one.
All right, solid pelvic tilts. Okay, so we're gonna be thinking crush the Dorito, or it helps to maybe think like a belt is under your back and you're trying to pull that belt out, but you wanna pin it to the floor with that low back. If you're compressing correctly, it should be like you could resist something landing on your stomach. So Think like a bowling ball dropping down on your stomach, or like a kid was coming and running and jumping with their knees to your stomach.
Three, two, one.
Okay, we're going to be doing a pelvic tilt with knee fallout. So I want you to brace your spine through that tight core compression, then one knee at a time.
2, 1.
A lot of times what happens with the core here is it tries to roll with the knees as the knee goes out to the side. So remember, you're trying to brace your pelvis against the floor by creating such strong core compression. Good, re-squeeze, tighten down that core. Make sure it's not rolling on the floor.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, pelvic tilt with adduction. So we're going to add a foam roller between the knees. I want you to squeeze your core, then the knees, release and release.
2, 1.
Okay, pelvic tilt really tight. That means Kegel, core compression. Squeeze the knees, then release the core. Right now, the whole focus is on keeping that core tight. Okay, that's halfway. Remember, re-squeeze the core. Okay, everything should be very distinct.
Three, 2, 1.
All right, pelvic tilt with a march. So remember, you're only moving one foot at a time while you maintain compression.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so those hip bones right up top there, they should not be shifting at all when you bring that knee up or back down. So make sure that spine stays flat on the ground. You're crushing that belt, holding it in place, okay? No shifting in the pelvis. Tight, tight squeeze. Okay, we're just over halfway, so recompress that core. Almost always, if you think your core is tight enough, it's not. Squeeze harder.
Three, 2, 1.
All right, pelvic tilt and bridge. That means your spine should stay completely straight as you lift your hips off the ground and return with that spine.
2, 1.
Okay, pelvic tilt, core compress, tight, tight, tight. Squeeze those butt cheeks together firm. Lowering back down, your low back, hips, and ribs should all touch at the same time. Remember, doing your best to maintain your compression all the way through. All right at halfway. Remember, re-squeeze, re-squeeze. Keep that core tight. You really should be pinching the butt cheeks nice and firm together.
3, 2, 1.
All right, tilt with shoulder drops. So set the shoulders down and back into the floor and then maintain your core compression while those arms are moving.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, as the shoulder goes down, you're relaxing that whole shoulder joint. As you return, you're pulling the shoulder down and back out of the ears. So with every movement, it should be activating the lats down the side of your ribs. Firm compression. There we go. There's halfway. Recompress that core. Really easy to forget it on this one as we get focused on those shoulders and how they're moving, but re-squeeze. Get it nice and tight.
Three, 2, 1.
Awesome. Now we're going to jump into the dead bugs. So compress that core. Imagine a box on your stomach. You want to bring your knees and your arms onto that box.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, core compressed, nice and firm. Set those shoulders down and back, get them in place. Then we bring those knees up. You're going to maintain that position for the alternate arms, right? So left arm, right leg, right arm, left leg. Only extend the legs as far as your core can stay tight, okay? If you extend a leg and that low back peels right up off the floor, you're not holding your core tight enough, so squeeze harder. Good, tight squeezes, finish nice and strong, 10 seconds.
Three, 2, 1.
All right, nice long rest. So make sure you go ahead and get a drink, kind of take a little break here. But I do want you to think the second round, we're gonna try to take and get the core so tight we can start lifting some of the pressure off of the feet, okay? So that we're not gonna push our feet into the floor, but we aren't even gonna lift the feet off the floor either. It's just a tiny pull, knees towards the chest, okay? So remember that, light feet on round 2 here.
3, 2, 1.
Right back to the pelvic tilts. Remember, keep the core compressed tight, tight, tight. Then pull some of the pressure off the feet. Release and release.
3, 2, 1.
Kegel, core compression. Nice light feet through that movement. Awesome. Halfway through, recompress. Make sure you're getting all you possibly can out of that core with that little bit of lift on the feet. And remember, if your core is not tight and you go to lift those knees, it's just going to peel that low back off the ground.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, here we go. Pelvic tilt with knee fallout. So compress that core, one knee at a time out to the side. Make sure your pelvis doesn't roll.
3, 2, 1.
Kegel, core compression, knee out to the side, as far as it can go through natural range of motion, and then bring it back up. We're not looking to touch the floor or anything like that. Right now it's all about core stability. So keep your brain connected to that core through the movement. Halfway through, keep doing a great job. Here we go. And remember, light feet as you go through these, light feet.
Three, two, one.
Good. Okay, we're going to do some adductions here. So grab that foam roller, compress that core, squeeze the knees, release the core.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, and through this movement, you want to, again, keep the feet really light on the floor. Core compression, feet are already really light. Squeeze the knees, release the core. Okay, very, very distinct through the entire movement. Awesome, awesome work. Keep working hard through it.
3, 2, 1.
All right, pelvic tilt with the knee toward chest or the march. Right, remember to only move one foot at a time and maintain your spinal compression.
3, 2, 1.
I like this one because a lot of our movement through the day is this movement in particular, right? Every time we pull the knee forward to take a step, every time we step up onto a ledge, this is hip flexion. So we want to learn how to compress the core through these hip movements so that way you can apply it all day long through every movement that you make. It's going to help brace your spine and increase the longevity of your spine as well because it's actually stabilizing the correct way. So keep working hard. It's worth it.
Three, 2, 1.
Awesome. Okay, tilt and bridge. So core compression with that Kegel. Squeeze the butt cheeks together really tight. Remember, your feet should be about shoulder width apart.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Kegel, core compression. Tight, tight, tight. Squeeze the butt cheeks to lift. Set back down. The butt, the low back, and the ribs should all touch at the same time, right? Just like lifting up a piece of iron and setting it back down. There should be no bending, wiggling, shaking in the low back. Halfway through, and if you can maintain that spinal compression throughout, you can just keep repping out these bridges. That's okay. But if you notice that your low back maybe isn't touching or your hips are touching before your ribs, something's shifting in the low back. So make sure you go and recompress that core through the movement.
Three, 2, 1.
Okay, now we're going to transition into those shoulder drops. So remember, pinch those shoulder blades down and back, down and back, down and back. Your shoulders basically should be trying to touch the floor.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, core compress, Kegel, core compression, hold that tight. Remember, loosen the shoulder blade. That whole thing should move as the arm goes towards the floor. Then squeeze by generating all the force down under your armpit or shoulder blade, pulling the shoulder down and back. That's what's going to return your hand pointed up towards the ceiling. Just over halfway, keep it up, recompress that core, make sure it's tight. Nice work, you're almost done on this one.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, we're going to transition into dead bugs or bird dogs. This time I'll show you the bird dog. The big thing is we're going to compress the core to stay tight through the whole movement. We don't want a cat or
2,
cow.
1.
So core compressed, extending through. So I'm not going to sacrifice the position of my low back, the stability of my low back, just to get my arm to extend or my leg to extend farther. Okay, again, I only extend so far as the core can tolerate. If I feel the core droop or my stomach drops towards the floor, I'm going to stop, reposition, re-squeeze the core, because again, this is core day. Right? We want to make sure the core is tight through the entire exercise. And same thing on those dead bugs. If you choose to do those, your back should be flat on the ground, compressed tight, tight, tight through the core. Almost done. Finish strong.
3, 2, 1.
Awesome, very good work. Okay, so we're done with 2 rounds. We have 1 more to go. Last round, I want you to hover the feet through as much of the movement as you can. Okay, so the whole point is that the feet aren't touching the floor, but I also don't want to be able to fit my whole hand underneath your foot. Okay, the idea is this is just a piece of paper. You're only lifting your feet enough for me to slide a piece of paper under there without getting stuck. Okay, so core compression first, always. As you're creating your movement, that's when the feet should be hovering. Okay, should be really difficult work. Let's go ahead and get set here. Last round, do your absolute best.
3, 2, 1.
Kegel, core compression, hover those feet, hold it for 1, 2, and then set them back down. Squeezing through it, and then release the core. Okay, again, tight core. Hover those feet, set the feet down, release the core. Keep going through it. Here we go. Keep it up, tight, tight, tight. Keep trying to hover those feet.
Three, 2, 1.
Okay, good tight squeezes with fallout. Do not let those hips shift on the floor. If you're able to hover your feet, fantastic. If not, work towards it.
3, 2, 1.
Tight, tight squeeze. Kegel, core compression through the whole movement. Do not let those hips shift side to side. It should be so, so tight. It's not allowing the pelvis to move. We want only movement through the hip joint. Halfway, keep it up, keep it up. Re-squeezing that core, making sure nothing else is moving other than that hip joint. Almost there. Keep working through it.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, here we go. Good adduction. So we're going to grab a foam roller or a pillow between the knees. Remember your distinct movements.
3, 2, 1.
Kegel core compression. Squeeze those knees, hover those feet for 1, 2. Set the feet back down, release the knees, then release the core. Do it again, nice and tight. Don't let yourself get out with an easy one. Okay, they should all be challenging. Good, that's halfway. Keep doing good work. Very distinct. Tight squeeze, release, release.
Three, 2, 1.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead and switch out to the next one. We're going to be doing that march. Kegel core compression. March those feet. Remember, try to hover and return to that hover.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, Kegel core compression. Hover the feet. Move just one knee up, all the way back down to the feet hover. Other foot up, back down to where the foot hovers. You can go ahead and set your feet down after doing both reps. Or if you want to try to maintain it, keep the feet hovering, just moving one at a time. Make sure it's not a scissors kick here. Okay, you shouldn't be moving both feet simultaneously. Just over halfway, keep it up. Let's go, let's go. Ten seconds, finish strong.
Three, 2, 1.
All right, tilt and bridge. Remember core compression. Feet should be about shoulder width apart. You're squeezing those butt cheeks super tight.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, Kegel core compression. Tight through the whole lift and returning to the ground. So only go at a pace where you can maintain that, right? If you're able to maintain it and get a bunch of glute bridges out of this, fantastic. If not, keep working towards it. Halfway, keep it up. Recompress that core, squeezing nice and tight. Ten seconds. Don't try to quit early. Go all the way through.
3, 2, 1.
Awesome. Okay, shoulder drops. Remember, pull those shoulders down and back before we ever get started. Okay, they should be down and back as far as you can. You can see on my shoulder, I'm pinning the stripe.
3, 2, 1.
Right, trying to get the stripes on my shirt pinned all the way down to the floor. Right, returning, pulling the shoulders out of the ears towards the butt as far as I can. Maintain that core compression. Easy to forget about the core on this one, right? So re-squeeze, re-squeeze. halfway. And we only have one more after this, so you do your best. Tight, tight squeeze. Come on. Ten seconds. Finish it out. Recompress the core. Get those shoulders out of your ears.
3, 2, 1.
Dead bugs or bird dogs. I don't care which one you pick, but no matter what, you are crushing that core. You're compressing as hard as you possibly can through the movement.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, I'm starting with the dead bug, so core compressed. On those extensions, do not let your spine move. Kegel, core compression through the whole movement, doing the best you possibly can. The halfway point, I'm going to roll over and do some bird dogs here. Good, halfway, compress that core, squeeze tight, tight, tight. Finish as strong as you possibly can. You're almost done. 20 seconds. Ten seconds. You're doing awesome work. Finish strong. Don't let yourself quit early. All the way through.
3, 2, 1.